Welcome to 5 to Thrive Live. Happy Monday, everyone. I'm Dr. Lisa Schuler, the host of this evening's show. Carolyn Gazella and I co-host 5 to Thrive Live, and we have also authored 2 books together on the topic of cancer, The Definitive Guide to Cancer and 5 to Thrive, Your Cutting-Edge Cancer Prevention Plan, the inspiration for this show. So our goal is to empower you with knowledge and to inspire you with strategies to live healthier lives in the face of cancer. And we have a great show lined up. So tonight's guest, Jessica Iannotta, is a nutritionist, and she is currently responsible for all clinical operations at Meals to Heal, which she's going to tell us more about, but is a complete solution to the needs of cancer patients. Evidence-based information, access to credentialed nutrition professionals, and affordable delivery of fresh, healthy, well-balanced meals, and she's also going to tell us all about that as well. And prior to Meals to Heal, Jessica spent over 10 years as both an inpatient and outpatient oncology dietitian, where she worked with a wide variety of cancer patients and was a valued member of the healthcare team. She received her bachelor's degree in nutrition, food, and agriculture from Cornell University. She completed her dietetic internship at New York Presbyterian Hospital while Cornell Medical Center, and she earned her master's degree in clinical nutrition from the University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey. So she's a very accomplished individual. Delighted to have her back on the show. Welcome to the show, Jessica.
Thank you, Dr. Altshuler. I'm so happy to be participating tonight, and especially to honor our breast cancer survivor program in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we have lots of great things to share with you tonight.
We do. And, you know, before we get into all of that great detail, and I want to make sure we do, I'd like for you to just tell our listeners a little bit more about Meals to Heal, because I think it's a really fascinating and wonderful organization that you've built.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Well, actually, Meals to Heal is a fresh, healthy meal delivery service for cancer patients. And we actually offer home-delivered fresh meals. So they're not freeze-dried, they're not frozen, they're healthy, they're well-balanced, and they're able to provide our patients with convenience and healthy, proper nutrition. So at a time when so many other things are out of control, our meals and our service can help make their lives easier, help them to feel better, help them to regain their strength, heal, get better, and enjoy quality time with their loved ones rather than having to worry about, nutrition, cooking, shopping, planning. We take all of that worry away. And in fact, we do that a lot for caregivers as well. And we have tons and tons of patients who come to our site looking for ways to help friends and family members and loved ones. And they actually order gift certificates because we have a great gift certificate program where family, friends, and loved ones can order a gift certificate and have a patient have access to our meals to be able to, ensure proper nutrition during and after cancer treatment.
Mm-hmm. And what region does your service operate within?
We actually deliver nationwide in the continental United States.
Okay, so, that is
we're available important. Even in those little remote areas where you wouldn't think that you'd have access to, healthy meals and convenient services such as ours. So, we are available.
Let me ask you this, because, sometimes what I've experienced, people telling me when they're very motivated to eat well, they may even be willing to set aside the time to cook and to learn how to create healthy meals, but they're just a little overwhelmed with how to go from where they are now to where they want to be. And it strikes me as something like this might be a good stepping stone, because they could start to get the meals and taste them and understand what they like. Do the meals come with information that helps people understand what they're eating, maybe even recipes? Or tell me what else comes with the food.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, all of our information and educational content is available free to everyone, and it's on our website. We have tons of evidence-based summaries of all the common topics that cancer patients seek related to nutrition and cancer. We have tip sheets on how to manage various side effects that are common: nausea, vomiting, taste changes, etc. And we actually have free access to the Natural Standard database, which, as you know, is a very well-known and respected database of nutraceuticals, supplements, botanicals, herbal ingredients that patients may be seeking information for but don't have the right place to search and find evidence-based summaries and appropriate information on those topics as well. So we really aim to provide the complete nutrition solution. So not only the fresh, healthy meals, but also the information and the support as well. So, we try to help them from all angles.
Great. Well, and I think that's so important because, as I said, it's motivation's one key ingredient, and then there's this little other ingredient, which is knowledge. How do I do this? And, what am I doing? And it sounds like you're providing them with not only the taste and the experience, but the information along with it, which is great. And how long has Meals to Heal been in operation?
Our program has been available since April when we officially launched our program, but it's been in the works for well over a year now, and we're just ecstatic to be able to help patients, and ultimately that's our goal, really to help patients and caregivers have access to the right nutrition and the right professionals with which to help them make the right judgment and really tailor their needs and help them to stay healthy and be well.
Great. And do you have other dietitians and health professionals working with you?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Our customer service team is all credentialed oncology professionals. So there are 4 certified specialists in oncology nutrition, and all of these are registered dietitians who have taken extra certification examinations and have additional experience in oncology with which to work with oncology patients. And then we have an oncology certified registered nurse as well. So anytime you call Meals to Heal, our customer service team is available 7 days a week. And anytime you call, you're talking to someone who knows exactly what you're going through and has the experience with which to guide you appropriately.
Great. What a great resource. And the website? We'll come back to it again, but just...
Yes, it's meals-2, that's TO-heal.com.
Okay, meals-2-heal.com. Fantastic. So we are up on a break, but when we come back, I want to dive into a couple of key issues. And the first one I want to tackle is weight gain, particularly since it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I want to focus on breast cancer because that's a big issue for breast cancer survivors, particularly given some of the hormonal treatments that they're using after chemo or radiation. So we're going to talk a little bit about weight management, and we'll deal with some other side effects from treatment as well when we come back from the break. Welcome back to 5 to Thrive Live. If you've just joined us, my name is Dr. Lisa Schuler, tonight's host of the program, and I am joined this evening by Jessica Iannotta, a registered dietitian who is here to talk to us about her Meals to Heal program, some of the programs that she's developed within that larger program, and nutritional information. And I also wanted to say that, as usual, we are happy to take your questions. You can either give us a call, and the number is 561-623-9427, or if you're on the website, you can open up the chat box, and the general chat's collapsed on the bottom right. You don't need to sign in, and you can just type your question in there, and I'll be looking for those as well. So I want to start talking in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month about some of the challenges unique to breast cancer, and specifically around the diet. And I know that you at Meals to Heal have started a new breast cancer survivor program. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about your program, and then we'll try to dissect some of the components.
Absolutely. I'd love to. Well, as you know, Lise, many breast cancer patients struggle with weight management and persistent side effects after treatment. We've actually received a lot of feedback that has led us to create our breast cancer survivor program. We have designed an 8-week program that's meant to meet the unique needs of breast cancer patients before, during, and after treatment. Patients will receive 8 weeks of our 5-day meal plan, and these meals will be tailored to meet the specific needs and side effects that patients may be experiencing during treatment. So, for example, a lot of times patients undergoing treatment for breast cancer are receiving a chemotherapy drug called adriamycin, which is known to cause a lot of nausea and vomiting. So when patients report to us that they're experiencing nausea and vomiting, we actually will generate a meal plan for them that contains meals that are best matched to suit this symptom and help them to eat despite the fact that they have this nausea and vomiting. The meals will be a little bit lighter, not as heavy, they won't contain a lot of spices, they'll be more on the blander side, but they'll still contain good balanced nutrition that the patient needs during treatment.
Can I interrupt you interrupt you for a minute? And just on that note, so let's say somebody is experiencing some nausea and you're sending a kind of a blander, easier to handle meal. Can you just give me an example of some of the foods that might be in that meal?
Absolutely. I was going to actually go through some examples in a moment. So, for example, one of the ones I like to use because it's one of my favorites is we have this great grilled turkey breast that's over a wild rice salad that comes with a side of vegetables. And it's actually a nice lean breast of turkey, wild rice that's very mildly seasoned. It's not overly spicy in any way, shape, or form, but it's really very comforting and very easy to digest. It's nothing that's too heavy, and patients usually find that things like that work well for them when they're, experiencing some digestive discomfort. At the same time, we also have some really nice soups and dishes that contain like beans and rice and that are really just more like comforting foods that don't contain a lot of spices, not a lot of heavy oils, and aren't greasy or heavy or things that you might often find when you're looking for convenience foods. So that's really where I think our program stands out, is that yes, we offer convenience, but it's also fresh and healthy, and it's tailored to meet those specific needs and side effects and help patients manage, help them cope with those symptoms. Another big one is constipation, which, as you know, a lot of times the anti-nausea medicines that we give patients during chemo, and especially a lot of the breast cancer patients who receive those as well, will experience constipation throughout treatment. And we have a lot of good fiber-rich meals, and we have a lot of good snacks, non-perishable snacks that we throw in, and they come with our meals, and they help our patients to kind of consume small, frequent meals throughout the day. And this practice is really helpful to reduce nausea and help them to optimize their nutrition. So a lot of our snacks contain things like nuts and dried fruits and things that help to boost fiber intake and also help to promote regularity in that way as well.
Mm-hmm. So that's great. So you have this 8-week program that sounds like includes a component for people during active treatment, meaning during the time of chemotherapy and radiation. And does the program then go on to cover at least a period of time after that active treatment is over, or is it really focused during that active treatment period?
Actually, our program, even though we call it a survivor program, it's meant to help patients before, during, and after treatment, because the educational content that I'll get to in a moment can actually apply throughout. And this tailoring and symptom and side effect management that we find patients often experience persistent taste changes and lack of desire for their same favorite foods. So we still offer this tailored component through the Breast Cancer Survivor Program. This is also a component of our regular Meals to Heal program, but we really felt that it was important to offer to breast cancer survivors as well to help them manage throughout the process and really give them the tools they need to succeed before, during, and after treatment.
So a lot of what you're providing them by way of example and information during the time that they might be getting chemotherapy will still inform their diet choices after they're done with the chemotherapy as well, it sounds like.
Absolutely, because throughout we're always encouraging healthy, well-balanced meals, and our meals are appropriately balanced, portion-controlled, and they, really teach them what a good, healthy meal is supposed to look like. So that once you're transitioning, let's say, to start preparing meals for yourself, and you're ready and you have the energy to start doing things again, this program is going to give you the tools you need. Not only that, because so many patients and survivors often experience weight gain as a result of treatment, decreased activity, side effects of medications, early menopause, etc., our program has that extra added component where we're helping patients to learn the tools and strategies for weight management. And as you know, weight gain is often associated with increased risk for breast cancer recurrence. So we really want to help patients to reduce this risk by giving them the self-management tools that they need to help them to stay healthy and manage and promote an optimal weight.
And let's talk a little bit about weight management, because this is a big issue for women who have a history of breast cancer, particularly women who are on aromatase inhibitors and or estrogen receptor modulators like tamoxifen. So, in your view, what are some of the main components or goals, let's say, from a diet perspective in terms of weight management for a woman with a history of breast cancer?
Yeah, and I think that's actually a really good question because it relates to our educational content. Because some of the main goals that we want to achieve with weight management is finding what works for each individual patient. So we're giving them the tools that they need to succeed and achieve a healthy weight. So we're teaching them about portion control because a lot of times, and you know, the average American portion when you go out to eat is 2 to 3 times more than we actually should eat. So we're starting from the very basic portion control, healthy eating. How do I know what the right amount to eat is? And we also apply that to everyday activities. So we're teaching them how to dine out more healthfully. How can I translate this information and go out to eat and be able to know what's healthy? How can I stick to my healthy meal plan and keep my weight at an appropriate level? In fact, we also have this neat little handout that we send. We send a lot of educational content, and patients actually have access to member-only webinars that are private, and they can view them anytime. And we also have a discussion session that patients have access to each week where they can speak with a registered dietitian who is a certified specialist in oncology. So we're going through all these topics on a weekly basis. We teach them healthy cooking techniques, because a lot of times, you know, you may not realize you're making a meal and you're putting a little extra butter or olive oil or more calories and more caloric density than you need. So we're teaching them tools to apply healthy cooking methods, know what to look for in the grocery store, healthy grocery shopping, you know, ideally sticking to the perimeter where all of the healthy foods are. We're teaching them physical activity guidelines, obviously with the appropriate guidance and approval of their physician and medical team, but, you know, things that can encourage them and motivate them to get moving, because we all know that a healthy weight management program has to involve some component of good physical activity. Not only that, there's a component of behavior modification. So we review basic behavior modification techniques as well. We give them ideas and strategies on how to set simple, smart, achievable goals, things that can help them to stay motivated and keep them on track. So we're sending them emails every week to keep them motivated, encourage them to set goals, and stay on track with the program. And not only that, you know, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm just wondering if people, so I mean, it sounds like you're paying a lot of attention to people that are doing this, and have you found that, what have people told you with regards to getting this information, getting these emails? Is it helpful, and how is it helpful?
Oh, absolutely. It's extremely helpful because it's giving them all the information that they need to get started and kind of keep themselves not only motivated, but have the good, healthy information for what we call lifestyle change and to apply it to their lifestyle. So we're not only helping them to achieve an optimal weight, but we're also helping them to instill practices that can reduce overall risk of cancer, breast cancer recurrence, reduce risk of other chronic diseases, heart disease, you know, diabetes, osteoporosis. We're aiming to give them lifestyle and self-management tools that can give them the information they need to succeed for a lifetime. So ideally, you know, survivorship is the key word. We want them to survive and thrive.
Good. Well, I mean, it sounds like a really important program for another reason, which is that, you know, Carolyn and I have spoken to a lot of people who have gone through this illness, and I would say that almost universally there's a sentiment about being a part of a community, whether it's an actual community or a virtual community, but somehow having a sense of belonging to a larger group, and that you're not in this on your own, that there's other people that are working towards the similar goals, and, you know, there's some other people out there kind of in your situation. So I think that your program also creates, it sounds like, a really nice community for people. And so I want to kind of go back, if we can, just to this issue of weight management. And if you had to identify, or what do you say in your program to women and men who are really trying to come up with a program to help them manage their weight. As what are the, if you had to pick three, what are the top three most important kind of factors or goals of the diet part of this program?
Yeah, well, we encourage, number one, we encourage calorie balance, and just starting to be aware of their caloric intake. We actually use a lot of the governmental tools like the Choose My Plate through the USDA, so we encourage them to go on helpful sites like that where they can actually track their caloric intake, daily energy expenditure. And for patients who have that, need that level, it helps them to understand where they're at and where they need to be. Because a lot of times you don't necessarily realize how many calories you're really taking in. And it can be way more than you even ever imagined that it could be. Secondly, I think the second most important thing, and I'm sure you would agree, is the component of physical activity. And we really try to emphasize the importance of just starting to get moving. Little bits make a huge difference. Parking extra far in the parking lot, taking an extra flight of stairs, and this is all obviously as a breast cancer patient is consistent with your medical team's recommendations, and obviously as you progress and get more energy and heal post-treatment, we encourage you to do little bits at a time. But we all know that even during treatment, physical activity can help combat things like fatigue. It helps strengthen your immune system, improve digestion, and numerous other benefits. So obviously that is extremely, extremely important. And then I think the third most important piece of weight management is not only setting goals, but having the right mindset that you're doing something for your health. So we try not to focus so much on numbers because I think that's where a lot of people get discouraged when they focus on, I need to be at this weight, or 5 pounds in this week, or I'm not happy. And as a dietitian myself, I've never been a practitioner who's focused only on numbers. I focus on the health benefits, and I focus on individual goals for each particular patient because everybody has their own pace, and I think that's where we come in because we're helping them to learn the tools in order to kind of find their own pace and find their own rhythm in order to succeed. So, all in all, I think we try to give them, every angle possible with which, they have the information, the food, the education, and also the resources from the registered dietitians that they're talking to every week, to have all the tools necessary with which to, achieve success and maintain a healthy weight.
Mm-hmm. And I want to just, share a little story that will underscore your first component, which is to manage caloric intake appropriate to activity and to optimal body weight. And, you said that you made the comment that sometimes we don't realize how much we're actually eating. And I had that experience about a year ago. I'm currently taking tamoxifen, and so I was starting to see my weight start to creep up. And so I got one of these programs on my smartphone that you could plug in your food that you're eating, and it tells you not only the nutritional content but the number of calories it has, and it even you can even use the camera thing on the phone, and you can scan the bar scan, and boy, it was so educational. I mean, it was amazing, just like you said, to really see where my calories were coming from. And what I found as a result of that was that it allowed, just with that information, it allowed me to make a different choice, because now I was making a choice with information, whereas before I would have been making a choice without that information. And you end up making different choices. So I think what you're suggesting and all the collateral, as we say, the other educational information that you're giving out with your food, your meals, are really important, because it's just all about giving people awareness, and with that awareness comes the ability to make different decisions. So just thought I'd share that little personal anecdote. And you also made another comment about doing it for the right reasons, and I think that's really important too. And what do you find is the most motivational when somebody calls up and says, I want to join Meals to Heal, and here's why, and you say, yeah, that person's going to succeed? What kind of things do you hear?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you're right. It's a very important component, and I think the most important thing that we hear, or the most motivational aspect that gets patients excited and interested in our program, is that nutrition can make a difference. When everything else seems out of control, there's so many things we can't control with breast cancer: family history and other risk factors like menopausal status and age of menarche and things like that. Nutrition is something we can control, and I think patients, when they start to realize that they can make such a difference by achieving a healthy weight, eating healthily, being aware of the proper diet, and eating lots of cancer-fighting foods, that alone is enough to get them involved and get them excited and keep them on board.
Great. Well, Jessica, it's time for another break, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, let's kind of go a little bit into some of the components of diet that people might be kind of curious about, in your thoughts about specifically. I'm thinking we should talk a little bit about soy and maybe about alcohol and some of those interesting things. So we'll take that up when we come back. Welcome back to 5 to Thrive Live. I'm Dr. Lisa Schuler, tonight's host, and I'm joined tonight by Jessica Iannotta from Meals to Heal, and we've been talking about the Meals to Heal program, which is both unique and comprehensive and really quite wonderful. Great. In fact, over the break we were chatting a bit, and she was sharing with me that it's been used by some people as gift certificates. So if they have somebody they know who's about to go through treatment, they've been gathering their resources and friends and family contribute and getting gift certificates, which I think is a fantastic idea. So anyway, meals2heal.com, meals-to-heal.com. And before the break, I teased the topic of soy and alcohol, so I want to just go right to that. Again, we're kind of focusing on breast cancer in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month tonight. And I just want you to talk a little bit, if you could, Jessica, about soy. First of all, there's been a lot of change in the literature, so soy has been demonified, so it's a good food now. And I want to just talk, if you could tell us a little bit about what whole soy is, maybe just share a little bit about why it's helpful for women with a history of breast cancer to eat, and then how can they get it, and what should they eat?
Okay, certainly. Well, just to give you a little background for those who don't have enough familiarity with soy, it actually is considered a plant estrogen, or what we call a phytoestrogen. So it's a plant chemical with similar structure to human estrogen. So the reason why, obviously, a lot of breast cancer patients ask about soy, it's probably the number one question I get as a registered dietitian, is because it has similar structure to human estrogen, albeit it's a very much weaker version. It can compete with human estrogen for estrogen receptors. So in some instances, it can actually help by blocking these estrogen receptors and blocking the stronger version of human estrogen from stimulating these cells. And in some instances where it's present in larger amounts, it can actually turn on these receptors and kind of signal these cells to grow and multiply. So it's important for patients to be aware of what soy is and what the safer sources of soy are. Soy is, we always encourage patients, whole soy foods are safe. We discourage them from supplements that contain soy isoflavones, things that contain genistein, things that are supplemented with soy that aren't necessarily the natural component or in a natural form. So a natural form would be a whole soy food. So for example, approximately 1 to 2 servings per day at the current time is considered safe. So I always review servings with my patients because it's important to know how much is safe and how much, a patient is supposed to have in the context of a good, healthy, well-balanced diet. 1 serving is considered half a cup of tofu, which obviously is a really common food, especially when, we eat a lot of stir fries and soups that contain tofu. Soybeans, edamame, is probably the most favorite appetizer anytime you go to a Japanese restaurant. So half a cup of soybeans is considered a serving. 1/4 cup of roasted soybeans, or you can consider 1/4 cup approximately the size of your palm. And often for patients who are lactose intolerant or have dairy allergies, soy milk is a very common beverage because it's also fortified with calcium. So 1 cup of soy milk or 1 cup of soy yogurt is also considered a serving. Soy cheese is an ounce, or approximately 1 thin slice. You have a tablespoon of miso, which is often used, obviously, in miso soups and things like that. Veggie burgers. People don't often think. They think, okay, I'm eating a healthier alternative than a red meat burger. I'm going to eat a veggie burger, but a lot of these veggie burgers are made with soy protein. So 3-ounce veggie burger, which is approximately the size of the palm of your hand, is considered a serving. Half a cup of tempeh and 1/4 cup of soy flour if you're using that, let's say, in baking or something like that. So these whole foods are always the safest way to eat rather than a supplement because it contains the full nutritional package, as I like to call it. So it's exactly the way our bodies are meant to eat it and meant to utilize the nutrients in those foods appropriately. And I think probably, go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the things I think that's important in what you just said is that a serving of soy is actually not very much. I mean, the portions that you were giving us are fairly modest. Half a cup of tempeh or a tablespoon of miso or a half a cup of edamame. I mean, this is not a lot. So I think that's important for people who want to start including soy but aren't really sure if they like it so much. It actually doesn't mean it's going to be soy staring at you at every plate all the time.
Exactly. No, it's true. That's true, and it can be included in the context of a healthy, well-balanced diet, and that's really always the mantra I try to take with patients. Everything should be nothing in excess, everything in moderation, and should be included in balance so that you can get lots of other healthful, colorful fruits and vegetables and whole grains that contain other helpful plant nutrients and phytochemicals that help your body to fight disease and enhance your immune system and stay strong.
Sure. And, one other thing you may talk to your clients about this as well is that when people are eating a lot of soy, the benefit from soy actually comes after we break the soy isoflavones, which are what, we need to get. We break it down in 2 steps. And we actually need bacteria in our intestines for that first breakdown step. It's a really important component of being able to digest the health benefits from soy. So sometimes I will also recommend a probiotic or what's called a synbiotic, which is a combination of fiber and probiotic bacteria to help people digest their soy and get the benefit from soy. There's been some interesting studies, showing the difference between, say, a person living in Asia eating soy and a person living in the United States eating soy, and why there's a differential sometimes in the benefit. And one of the thoughts behind that is that there's a difference in the kind of bacteria that each culture tends to have in their gut. So just thought I'd throw that out there as another way. If you're going to go for soy, you might as well get the most out of it.
Oh, that's so interesting. Absolutely. And I think that's a really great point that you brought up. And it's interesting, too, just like you mentioned, how in other countries often we see even more of a benefit from soy intake because these countries are, soy is a staple in their diet, and it's something that's eaten throughout their lifetime, and especially during the time of growth and puberty and adolescence when it can have most impact on developing breast tissue. So I think, when we think of women coming from Asian countries and coming over to the U.S. and eating the typical American diet, it's not the same. It's that lifetime intake where we see, tremendous benefit of the soy protein.
And that is a really important point because you're absolutely right that I even heard actually a fairly well-known and respected researcher and leader on soy research. He made the comment recently that he thinks that it's really the lifetime consumption of soy going way back to when people are, children and adolescents that has the biggest and maybe even the only, he didn't say only, but he said really the biggest chance of actually being cancer preventative. Not that there's not benefit later, but that there was clearly the strongest benefit when people started to consume it at a younger age. So you just made a very important point, I think. And you mentioned what you did not include in your list of soy foods is soy protein. So I want you to just address why you did not include that on your list.
Soy protein is something that patients often ask me about because it comes in a powdered form, and it's something that they can potentially add to shakes and smoothies and things like that, which I have no problem if somebody, needs to add a little extra protein and is using it once in a while. But the reason why I don't include isolated soy protein on my list of whole foods is because technically it's still considered a soy supplement. So it's not something that's considered whole, being it's the whole food that comes along with all the other nutritional benefits. So it's still considered supplemental soy protein because it's just the isolated isoflavones, and it's not something that we necessarily want you to do in excess because it's not the supplemental form that we know has the true benefit. And in the supplemental form, you can potentially err on the side of excess. So, so I take that on a case-by-case basis usually, and, it kind of balance it within the context of the patient's other meals and other balanced foods that they're eating throughout the day.
Okay, good. So speaking of balance, I'm going to transition us in our last little bit of time here to alcohol, another issue that I have a lot of conversations with people about. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on the use of alcohol in women with a history of breast cancer.
Yeah, this is actually a really interesting topic. And the reason why I find this particular point so fascinating is because alcohol intake is actually the one step that's most clearly associated with both pre- and postmenopausal breast cancer. And in fact, women who drink 2 to 5 drinks daily actually have a 1.5 times increased risk of breast cancer compared to women who drink no alcohol at all. It's actually, so clearly evident that we recommend, and it's clear in all of the guidelines from all of the major cancer institutions, American Institute for Cancer Research, American Cancer Society, that women consume no more than 1 alcoholic drink per day, and that's a maximum. And a lot of times with breast cancer survivors and the doctors that I've practiced with and the oncologists that I have known in my career usually encourage women to, avoid if possible and kind of use it, here and there sparingly is usually the practice they recommend. And a lot of times patients get confused because they say, well, 1 serving, what's a serving? Because, you just think, okay, let me have a beer because I'm going out with family and friends on the weekend and enjoy a 4th of July barbecue, let's say. So it's important to know what a serving is because you definitely do not want to go above that. So 1 serving is considered 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or 1.5 ounces of hard liquor at 80 proof. It actually is only 1 ounce if it's over 100 proof. So
that would be strong liquor.
Yeah, that would be strong liquor.
Okay, so 1 drink or less a day would be basically the amount that would infer no additional risk. And I think that's important that it is not 0, but it's actually 1. Not that anybody should go out and start drinking, but there are some health benefits to that 1 serving of alcohol, particularly if it's red wine for women. The biggest killer of women is still not cancer, but heart disease, and red wine actually does give some heart health protection. So I think that that's something to consider. And then clearly there's, some social relaxation benefits for some people. Again, not a reason to start drinking if you don't, but if women have a hard time giving it up, I think that it's good to know that there's at least a safe kind of arena for alcohol.
Exactly, and that's where we take it on a case-by-case basis. So, we kind of take a person's individual history and plan and kind of use these guidelines to help them make the best decision for them.
Right, good. So if you had to step back and just sort of survey your many nutritional recommendations and dietary pieces of advice, what would be your favorite? What's something that you're just tonight, I won't even hold you to this beyond tonight, but what just kind of caught your attention and you're just excited about?
I think the most exciting thing that I get excited to teach people about and to help them incorporate into their daily meal plans and into their lifestyle is more plant foods, because I've always been a big fruit and vegetable fan ever since I was younger, and it's just fascinating to me that Mother Nature created this, essentially Mother Nature's remedy and Mother Nature's, medicine box for us is the fruits and vegetables and whole grains and all of these phytonutrients and plant chemicals, antioxidants that can help our bodies fight disease, strengthen our immune system, fight cancer, and it's just amazing to me the importance of including plant foods in our diet. And I always get excited to help patients find new ways to incorporate lots of colorful fruits, vegetables, grains, beans, nuts, seeds, legumes, whatever they can. I really, that's probably one of the most favorite parts of what I do as an oncology dietitian.
Love it. I love it. That's exactly, I'm right with you on that one. So we are at the end of our time. Can you give us the website again, please?
Sure. It's meals, MEALS, -2, and that's TO, -heal, HEAL.com.
Fantastic. Well, this has been a wonderful show. Thank you so much, Jessica, for joining us. You really have shared some valuable information, clearly know what you're doing, and have created just a wonderful service for people that I encourage everybody to go check out. And I also would like to, on behalf of Carolyn Gazelle and myself, let you know that we have a great week coming up, so stay tuned. Tomorrow we have Rebecca Katz, who is a great follow-up to this show. Rebecca Katz is a cook. She's a culinary nutritionist, and she has written a book called Cancer Fighting Kitchen and some other books. She's going to talk to us about how to get to yum. And on Wednesday, we have Maggie Luck, who is an inspiring survivor of ovarian cancer. I mean, really inspiring survivor. She's going to tell us her amazing story on Wednesday. Thursday, we have Dr. Carolyn Dean, who's here to share with us some information about the top 5 foods that cause irritable bowel syndrome and the top 5 foods that prevent it. Very important issue for people who have been through any kind of treatment for cancer, since irritable bowel tends to crop up. And then on Friday, we have our research review day, where Carolyn and I will share some of our research that we've discovered over the week. So great week coming up. Please join us right here on W4CS.com at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, I'd like to thank the sponsors of our show, whose generous support make it possible for us to bring guests like Jessica Iannotta to you. Our sponsors are Cognizant Citicoline, Natural Factors, Cetria Glutathione, and Tomorrow's Nutrition. So that's a wrap. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your evening. May you experience joy, laughter, and love, and it is time to thrive. Good night, everyone.